Good evening to everyone who's here, and thank you for being here. I welcome you all on behalf of Maharashtra Vruksha Samvardhini and Institute of Natural History Education and Research Pune, in association with the Department of Botany, uh, Ramnaran Jhunjhunwala College, Mumbai, and Barrister Balasaheb Khardekar College in Vengurla. We are happy to have you all for this online session. As always, we'll start with the introduction of the speaker, which today will be done by Dr. Ajit Vartak sir, followed by the talk and with vote of thanks by Dr. R.M. Sharma sir. So we have a very wonderful people lined up. We are going to listen to today. And what we'll do is we'll finally end with the QA session. Just a quick note on QA, please put your questions in the chat box or use the raise hand feature of Zoom, and I'll collect them and post them to our speaker. Dragonflies and damselflies are the two of nature's most agile flyers, and they have been depicted on stamps around the world, which are a wonderful media that has given us insights into so many subjects, which many of you probably found out watching our talks over the time now. And we are in for a treat today. Get an insight into these fantastic flying creatures that unfortunately are not very well known or as studied as many other groups. But they have some very unique features, and today we have a perfect person to take us into their world through the postal stamps. I now request Dr. Vartak sir to introduce our speaker.
Good evening, everyone. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, renowned entomophilatelist Dr. Ramani sir. He did his graduation from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore, Masters in Agriculture and PhD in Agriculture Entomology from University of Agricultural Sciences, Bengaluru. He joined Agriculture Research Service of the Indian Council of Agriculture Research in 1985, served in different capacities and retired in 2011 as Project Coordinator, Honeybees and Pollinators, ICAR, New Delhi. His areas of specialization are pollination, biological control, and taxonomy. His special area of interest is taxonomy of fruit flies belonging to the family Tephrididae. He is the lead editor of the book Indian Insects, Diversity and Science. Promoting the appreciation for insects and their wondrous lives among the young is his passion. His other interests and hobbies include trekking, reading, and entomophilately. Entomophilately, or collecting and researching about stamps on insects, has been his hobby for nearly 4 decades. Entomologically and philatelically inclined, he has combined both into a very rewarding and educational hobby. He strongly believes that entomological postage stamps are a unique means of communication about insects and their lives, and they can be used as effective teaching tools. He has written several articles and given webinars about insects on stamp, both for professional entomologists and general public. He has participated in national and international philatelic exhibitions and won medals. Today's webinar, A Philatelic Journey into the World of Dragonflies and Damselflies, will blend entomology and philately and take you on a fascinating journey through the world of dragonflies and damselflies as portrayed on stamps and other philatelic material from all over the world. With this short introduction, now I request Dr. Ramani sir to deliver his talk. Ramani sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vartak and Dr. Rajagopal, for that introduction. I would also like to thank the organizers of this event, Maharashtra Vruksha Samvardhini, Pune, the Department of Botany, RJ College, Mumbai, Institute of Natural History Education and Research, and Barrister Balasaheb Khardekar College, Vengurla, for hosting this event, for which I've been privileged to be a part of. So it's been a great pleasure to be with all of you, and I will take you through this journey to talk about dragonflies and damselflies through stamps. I'll start sharing my screen now. So today is the National Dragonfly Day. So June 13th, 2026, actually, it happens to be on this day. Actually, it is the second Saturday of June, which is celebrated as National Dragonfly Day. And this year it happens to be on the June 13th. So let's begin by talking about the National Dragonfly Day as to what it signifies and what is the importance of National Dragonfly Day before we get into our lecture. Actually, the National Dragonfly Day is celebrated in US. It is also celebrated in different other countries and as also in India. So it actually celebrates the dragonflies and damselflies, raises awareness about their ecological importance, and encourages people to promote wetland habitats that these ancient insects depend on. The focus actually is on wetland conservation so that you conserve a lot of wetlands in which most of these dragonflies and damselflies breed, create pond habitats, and also insect biodiversity education. If you look at it very recently, I think sometime in 2021 or 2022, in Kerala, this was celebrated as Tumbi Mahotsavam. Tumbi in Malayalam means dragonfly. So Tumbi Mahotsavam was celebrated in Kerala very recently. And the specific concepts that are highlighted on the National Dragonfly Day are habitat protection, which means safeguarding clean water and wetland ecosystems. It is very, very important that several of these species of dragonflies actually depend on clean water, not polluted water. Though some of them can breed on polluted water, but several of them breed in clean water. And so polluted waters will indicate if the dragonflies are not there, damselflies are not there, that means that the water is polluted. So it is a good indicator of the clean water which you have. So safeguarding clean water becomes very important for dragonflies and damselflies. Biodiversity monitoring, tracking dragonfly species as key indicators of environmental health. Recently also a lot of work has been going on. There is a National Dragonfly Society which is there, and an Odontological Society also which is there. And several of them, especially in Maharashtra, Bangalore, several parts of Kerala, several parts of the Northeast are tracking and talking about dragonflies and monitoring them, and also trying to find out new species and their habitats, etc., etc. So a lot of work is going on this biodiversity monitoring. Especially, I would like to talk about Pankaj Goparade, who is there in this. I'm not very sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Chatur. Chatur is dragonfly, is it in Marathi?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So Chatur Ullu Lab. That is the lab in Pune where this person works, Dr. Pankaj Goparade, and he has done a lot of work and has identified a lot of dragonflies in the Western Ghats, in the entire Western Ghats, including Maharashtra, Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. So natural pest control is another thing which is talked about, where they raise awareness about how dragonflies actually can naturally manage mosquito populations. It is believed that dragonflies, as nymphs as well as adults, eat a lot of mosquitoes, and they are natural biological control agents of mosquitoes. Then citizen science is another thing. iNaturalist is one feature where they encourage public to document, photograph, and survey local load data. So they put photographs of the dragonflies which are recorded in different parts of the country, and so there is a documentation of the dragonflies throughout the country in these, and this is verified through species identification, then put up in the website. So these are the major issues that are talked about on the National Dragonfly Day. Let's come on to now philately. I won't delve into this much longer, but just to tell you that it is one of the world's most popular hobby. A lot of people, including the kings, especially the kings of in England, have been practicing this hobby, as also several other noble people. They are actually postage stamps, we see, are very, very unique outlets for countries to showcase very important issues of their country, raise public awareness about various issues, and then commemorate persons, of course, or events of national significance, and also talk about the cultural significance of several countries. So stamps actually become windows into the art and culture of nations, and they document the spirit of the time when they were designed and published. Then the subjects that are represented on stamps are by nature wide and varied. You can find all kinds of things that are put on stamps. And if you look at the American Topical Association, there are at least 100 or more topics that are listed on which stamps have been issued, or even more, I should say. Maybe 100 is a small number. Even much more large number is being listed of the topics on which stamps are being collected or stamps are being issued. So, and in most cases, most philatelists are thematic stamp collectors. That means they collect on particular themes, maybe on a particular subject, they collect the stamps. And so most of them are thematic stamp collectors. But also there are others who collect historical evidences about stamps and various other issues also. But several of them would be thematic stamp collectors specializing on particular topics. Coming on to our subject, which is insects and man. Insects have been around, as you can see, as man evolved also, insects have also been there all along. Even much before man came onto this earth, insects have been there. And we have been having a continuous fight with these insects. Several of us have been fighting these insects with various means. And right now, of course, we use a lot of pesticides to control insects. So insects have been actually around in the earth for more than 400 million years. But the first stamp on an insect was issued in 1890. We'll look at some of these a little later. May not be a butterfly, not a dragonfly, but let's have a look at it later. Then of the 866 issuing entities, 332 issuing entities have issued stamps depicting insects. That is 38% of the issuing entities. Why do you think that there are more than so many, which are more than the countries that are listed? This is because several issuing entities are there, not just countries, several counties, several states, several other organizations also issue stamps. That is why we have a large number of issuing entities as compared to the number of countries in the world. But of the 195 countries which are recognized by the United Nations, only 3 countries, Myanmar, South Sudan, and Timor-Leste, have not issued an insect-related stamps. All 192 countries have issued stamps on insects. So insects are there everywhere. As you know, they are there in the Arctic, they are there in the desert, they are there in the trees, they are there in the soil, they are there in our homes, they are there everywhere. Every possible portion that you can think of has got insects, except maybe oceans. In the oceans, the insects are very, very few. So being everywhere, they are also there on our stamps. So let's get into the subject proper, that is entomophilately. Entomophilately is the study of insects, study and research of insects, insects which are represented on stamps. As you can see here, there are some representatives of cockroaches, leaf insect, butterfly, bugs, etc., which are beetles, etc., which are there on stamps. So there are more than 20,000 insect stamps that have been issued worldwide, depicting more than 2,000 different kinds of insects. And entomology is a very, very popular theme amongst collectors, and it forms the subject of several books, catalogs, and checklists. So collectors of insect-related stamps are set to practice entomophilately. Let's quickly look at how taxon species richness and stamps that have come out about various groups of animals is put on. If you see here, the chordates, that is the fishes, mammals, vertebrates, birds, etc., etc. The vertebrates actually dominate stamps. That is, the number of stamps which are issued on them is much, much higher than the number of species. That means if you try and compare between what would have actually happened if they had only issued stamps of the number of species which are present, it would have been different. But then the number of stamps that have been issued on these animals is much, much higher. You can see here, the expected value is much, much higher, almost 15 times more than that. Whereas the other animals, if you see, the crustaceans, the insects, mollusks, and others are far poorly represented. That means that the number of species which are there amongst crustaceans, insects, mollusks, and others is much higher, but the stamps that have come out on these groups is much, much lesser. So this is actually significant even with a chi-square test. Insects and stamps, there are almost 30 orders of insects which are recognized, and of these 30 orders, 25 orders have been put on stamps. Almost all the representative stamps of these different orders are there, which are represented here. So 25 insects orders are represented on stamps. There are, of course, 5 orders which are not there on stamps, but all these 25 orders I have put representative stamps of all the 25 orders here. Of these, of course, the lepidopterans, as is well known, the butterflies and moths are maximum numbers. The maximum numbers of stamps have come on lepidopterans, followed by odonatans, which is the subject of today's talk, that is dragonflies and damselflies. This gives a better picture of what I was trying to talk about, that is the insect orders and the stamps issued on them. This is, I think, sometime about 3 or 4 years back. Maybe the numbers may be slightly higher now, but gives a fair representation of what stamps have been issued on these different orders. So you can see here, Lepidoptera is maximum represented, while even an order like Coleoptera, which has got much higher number of species, it is underrepresented as far as the stamps are concerned. And similarly, odonatans, though there are only 6,300 species, 542 stamps have been issued from odonatans. So these are greatly more represented than the number of species itself that are there amongst them. So the next slide actually tells you how they are overrepresented. So the entomological stamps which have issued is generally reflected, or it is expected to be relative to the number that are there of the species, but that is not true. The lepidopterans, that is the butterflies and moths, are highly overrepresented. They are overrepresented 136 times or 137 times as compared to the number of species of lepidopterans. Similarly, the odonatans are almost 18 times overrepresented on stamps, while the dipterans, that the flies, the hymenopterans, the wasps, bees, etc., the coleopterans, the hymenopterans, etc., all of them, bugs, all of them are underrepresented. So the red bars actually say how they are underrepresented as compared to the rest. So I will get on to the actual presentation of my talk, this was just a brief introduction about insects on stamps. I'll get on to the plan of my presentation with a brief introduction about dragonflies and damselflies. I'll get into how the origins of odonata are put on stamps, and then how you can recognize odonatans, that is damselflies and dragonflies, from other similar looking insects, and what is the body plan of odonata, and how do you differentiate dragonflies and damselflies? Can you differentiate them using stamps themselves is what. So in all these instances, wherever I am talking about, I'm going to use stamps as examples, or stamps as representations, to talk about various issues that I'm talking to you about. Then the coloration of odonata, how they are brightly colored, the superlative flight capacities of odonatans, some behaviors of damselflies and dragonflies, what are the habitats in which you can see odonatans, their reproduction and life cycle, what are the stamps that have been issued on dragonflies and damselflies from different countries, classification of odonata, that is ancient dragonflies, the Anisozygoptera, followed by the zygopterans, the damselflies, the anisopterans, damselflies, anisopterans, the dragonflies. What are the sizes of odonata? Which are the biggest, which are the smallest? Then how dragonflies are represented in our art and culture, and very briefly to talk to you about migration in dragonflies and how odonatans, or dragonflies and damselflies, are very good ecological indicators. We will conclude with that. So coming to the order odonata. Order odonata is actually contains about 6,300 species of damselflies and dragonflies. Actually, odonata from Greek means odontos, tooth. So because their tooth, it gets the name. Then the largest flying invertebrate fossil with 27 inches wingspan. You can imagine it would have been larger than a bird, than even the huge bird. So those huge fossils have been found of dragonflies and damselflies, and with very huge wingspans. The first fossil of an actual dragonfly, that is an odonatan, these were predators of, not predating dragonflies and damselflies, what I'm talking to you about, that is 27 inches. But the first odonatan fossils, which are there today, was found about 250 million years ago. And most families present today were there about 200 million years ago, beginning with the Jurassic period, well before the dinosaurs. So several of these dragonflies were there when the dinosaurs were around. You can see some of these stamps here show how dragonflies were still around when the dinosaurs were there. And this is Archaeopteryx trying to chase a dragonfly. Again, getting on to the origins of Ordinata, they're very, very ancient insects. I told you the fossils of order Proto-Ordinata, which is an extinct ancestral group, were found from upper Carboniferous sediments in Europe, and these were formed about 325 million years ago. And the first Odonatan fossils were found in the lower Permian about 250 million years ago. The ones which are the Proto-Ordinata, the extinct ancestral group, they were very huge. As I told you, about 70 centimeters by 30 centimeters in length, 70 centimeters. So one stamp here, you can see here, this is a fossil of an ancient that is the Proto-Ordinata, Meganeura moni, which was produced by Togo. They've also been represented by Germany. This is the giant dragonfly, which you can see here in this meter franc. Meganeura, 75 centimeters wingspan. This is actually produced by Germany to talk about, how these were, witnesses to Earth's history. So that it talks about how this could be marked as climate witnesses of Earth's history. With such huge wingspans, they were there, but they became, then there was no problem of, the oxygen levels were very high. There were no other problems, but then other things intervened, and slowly these became extinct. So, but then you can see here, this is the huge dragonfly is represented as a witness to Earth's history. Very recently, of course, that is about 10 years ago, Brazil came out with a dragonfly fossil which was found in Brazil, and this is actually the logo of this fossil found in Ararape Geopark. Is actually the symbol of the Museum of Paleontology in Brazil, and they have come out with a stamp using this particular fossil. How do you recognize Odonata from other similar looking insects? Again, using stamps, I'm going to tell you about these. The closest relatives of Odonata are mayflies, that is order Ephemeroptera. Both these orders actually belong to Paleoptera. That is, they cannot fold their wings back over their abdomen. That is, they can only fold it upwards or downwards. They can only move it upwards and downwards. They cannot fold it back over their abdomen. So both of them are very, very similar looking. So this is a very, but then of course they're very, very small in size. Their wing size is much different. Their venation is much different. So you can very easily differentiate between a mayfly and a dragonfly and a damselfly. Whereas you could easily get confused with a neuropteran, that is antlion, owlfly, lacewings. These are almost looking like a dragonfly because of the netted wings. They have also got netted wings and very huge wings, and they could be easily differentiated by the fact that they can be these wings can be folded back over their abdomen, that is upwards. If they can go back over their abdomen, whereas a dragonflies cannot do that. And also the neuropterans, that is the antlions, the owlflies, green lacewings, etc., have long clubbed antennae, whereas the dragonflies and damselflies have very, very short antennae. So you can actually see here this particular stamp, the both wings are of equal size, and this stamp you see here, this is the ancient dragonfly which is there here, and this is a dragonfly, and this is a damselfly. So all the three have been put here on a single stamp. Just using a stamp, you can understand all the features of a dragonfly. So you can see here that the Australian stamp on the Australian tiger, though the naming has been done by me, but what is important is that the features can be very clearly seen. The abdomen, the parts of the leg, the eyes, the antennae, the front face, the prothorax, stereothorax, the wing venation, how the nodus is, what is the forewing, the stereostigma, which is also an important character of dragonflies and damselflies. These are all very clearly seen on the stamp. So you can see that using this stamp, you can even talk about the morphology of the dragonfly very easily. Coming on to how to differentiate dragonflies and damselflies. Generally, dragonflies' compound eyes are very huge, very big, and they're touching each other. Both are touching each other. Whereas if you see a damselfly, though the compound eyes are huge, they're far separated from each other. You can see very clearly that the eyes are very far separated. The wings are generally held to the side in rest when in the case of dragonflies, while the wings are folded back above the abdomen in the case of damselflies. The body is short and thick generally. You can see here, all of them, the body is short and thick, whereas the body is long and thin in appearance in the case of damselflies. So The stamps itself, can talk to you about the differences between these two groups. Continuing differentiating dragonflies and damselflies, generally the forewings, you can see here, the forewing is smaller than the hind wings. Whereas if the wings are folded like this, you can hardly differentiate between the forewing and the hind wing in the case of the damselfly. That is, they are almost similar in size. You cannot differentiate between them, so they are similar in size and shape. And if you look at the attachment of the wing to the abdomen, here it is not petiolated, it is broadly attached to, to the thorax. I'm sorry, to the thorax. It is broadly attached to the thorax. The abdomen, the wings are broadly attached to the thorax, whereas here they are petiolated. That is, they're thinly, the end of the wing is very, very thin and attached to the thorax. It is petiolated at the base. Again, a feature which is generally understood only by entomologists, the discoidal cell is like a triangle in the case of the dragonfly. You can see here very clearly from the stamp. I think this stamp was released by Ukraine. I have enlarged it a little just to show you this feature. It is a triangle. You can see here the discoidal cell is a triangle, whereas here the discoidal cell is a rectangular or four-sided one. So you can see that the differences between dragonflies and damselflies can be very, very clearly demonstrated just by using stamps. Coloration, just a representation. You can think of all the colors of the rainbow, and they are there on our dragonflies and damselflies. Beautiful colors: green, red, brown, blue, all kinds of colors you can see on the dragonflies, both on the wings as well as on the body. Just to give you a representation, this is not a stamp. This is just Dragonflies and Damselflies from a book by Paulson, just to tell you how brightly colored they are. Talking about superlative fight, I'm not very sure if some of you attended a recent lecture by one Dr. Sandeep Saha from IIT Kharagpur, who talked about the superlative features of a dragonfly which actually migrates over the Indian Ocean. And he talked about how the physics of it, how they use various wind currents to travel, and also how their wing is so nicely structured to help them to do various things. And he went into the physics of it and the aerodynamics of the entire thing. A beautiful lecture. This is also available in the YouTube. This series is called as Copy with Curiosity, and he has delved on this very, very nicely. You can even go back to that YouTube. It is actually sponsored by the Indian Central Theoretical Center for Theoretical Sciences from Bangalore. And Copy with Curiosity is available on their website. You can have a look at it, and you can see this particular lecture. Very, very beautiful lecture, I should say. So actually, forewings and hind wings work independently, which is very, very peculiar. In several instances, the forewings and hind wings are hooked, or the forewing is reduced. Several such features are there in other groups of insects, but in this case, the forewings and hind wings can work independently. The forewing can move upwards, like you can see here. The forewing can move upwards while the hind wing is moving downwards. They can also move together. So all kinds of mechanisms they are able to use to hover, to fly backward, to move straight up or down, to make hairpin turns. All kinds of maneuvers that you can think about can be made by the dragonflies and damselflies while in flight. And they can fly forward at quite high speeds, from to about 4.5 miles per hour to 34 miles per hour. So, and they can also glide, hover, cruise, and capture prey on wing, which is a very, very important feature, especially when you're migrating. If you can capture prey on wing and eat, that is a very, very good feature for you. So that helps you. So here you can see the various positions that the wing can take about. And also the structure of the wing is very, very important. The structure has got a lot of features which help them to bend the wing, bend portions of the wing, make them glide, make them use air currents, and the aerodynamics of this is very, very wonderful. Please do listen to that lecture if you can to understand more about this. Coming on to some behaviors of Ordinata, very, very beautiful behaviors are there in Ordinata, especially one which is called as perching behavior. This is especially practiced by the males because they need to guard their territory. So when they need to guard the territory, they try and sit on a stick or on a high place, and they will chase away other males which come to that area. So they guard a particular territory and attract females to that territory so that they can mate with them. So this is a very, very important behavior called as a perching behavior, especially in both the dragonflies and damselflies. You can see this. They will perch on a high position, on a stick or on a plant or something like that, and chase away all other males which come to that area. The next is called as basking, which is very, very important, especially for dragonflies and damselflies which live in temperate or cool areas where they need to raise their body temperature to start flying. So to raise their body temperature to start flying, they do this basking. That means they would sit on a rock or they would sit on a plant and expose maximum portion of their body to the sunlight so that the temperature heats up, so that they will be able to fly. Especially in the morning, you will be able to see this particular behavior. Then there is another behavior where actually they want to cool down. When the temperature becomes very warm, especially in the afternoons, then they need to cool down. When they need to cool down, they follow what is known as an obelisk or a handstand position, where they would allow very little portion of the body to be exposed to the sun by perching themselves on their legs and lifting their entire abdomen and wings upwards so that lesser sunlight falls on their body. This is how they do it, and this helps them. Actually, this is like almost like a yoga position, and so that they can cool down the temperature in the afternoon. So these are some small behaviors very well represented on stamps. As you can see now, I have also, in addition to putting the stamps of these various behaviors and various habits, I've also tried to put the names of these insects. All these stamps which I have talked about, the names, the country, and the year in which that has been published. I'm not talking about, or I'm not detailing them, but just to tell you that they are there on the slides. Coming on to habitats of Odonata, they generally are found in stagnant water bodies also, that is mostly freshwater bodies, stagnant water bodies like rainwater pools, reservoirs, tanks, ponds, rice fields, etc. You will find dragonflies and damselflies. And most of these are very, very habitat specific. But then some of them have also adapted to urban areas and use man-made water bodies. You can see here this beautiful souvenir sheet which has come out, which has been put up by Republic of China, where freshwater tank is seen, and all the dragonflies and damselflies, dragonflies mostly, all of them are dragonflies which breed in freshwater tanks is represented here. So you also have here dragonfly in a rice field, dragonfly in a lake, dragonfly in a pool, and a damselfly in a pond habitat. So they generally use stagnant water bodies. Different species use different ones, but stagnant water bodies are used by dragonflies and damselflies. They also use flowing water bodies. Some species use flowing water bodies. They use a wide range of fast and slow flowing freshwater bodies. Irrigation channels, streams, rivers, and even waterfalls are used as breeding places for them. So you can see here again, Republic of China has come out with a beautiful souvenir sheet with 4 stamps talking about or showing you dragonflies which actually breed in a flowing stream. So here you have the 4-spotted skimmer, Libellula quadrimaculata, which is abundant in most slow-flowing waters with vegetation. And this is the beautiful the moisel damselfly, Calopteryx virgo, which lives near medium-sized streams and creeks. So by looking at species, you can generally even find, or by looking at the kind of water body that you see, you can find the species, or by looking at the species, you can also find out what kind of water body is present. And it is very, very important that most water bodies are clean. Unless they are clean, they will not breed in those water bodies. Coming to reproduction and life cycle, as is usual, in case of several animals, in the case of dragonflies and damselflies also, the males are more brightly colored than females. You can see here, this is a male, this is a female. This is a male, this is a female. This is a male, this is a female. Here you can see, this is a male, this is a female. Here again you can see, this is a male, this is a female. So in all these instances, you can see that the males are more brightly colored than the females. And as I told you during the behaviors, the males are territorial and guard their territories. So they sit on such places and they guard their territories. How does mating start? Actually, mating starts by the male. The male actually clasps the head of the female. You can see here, the male is clasping the head of the female here. In both these, it is just starting to clasp the head. And as soon as it starts clasping the head of the female actually bends its abdomen to the second abdominal segment. Actually, what happens is that though the sperm production is at the terminal end of the abdomen, it actually transfers its sperm to a secondary apparatus here in the second abdominal segment where the sperms are stored. So to get the sperm, the female actually bends its abdomen to the second abdominal segment and receives the sperm. So you can see here, it is bending its abdomen towards the, so here, every one of them you can see here to the second abdominal segment. Here also you can see second abdominal segment. Very, very nicely represented on stamps. This is a very, very beautiful position, and as is usual, man always believes that if he talks something which is similar to what he does or what he talks about, then it looks up more appreciable. So this almost looks like a love heart. You can see here, it looks like a love heart. So ordinates can be often seen flying in tandem, their body is making the shape of a love heart. Here again represented on this stamp from Somalia. These are of course stylized mating dragonflies, so shaped like a. And even some poems have come out on this. I have not put this poem out here, but some poems have come out on this particular method of mating. Coming on to the sequence of mating, that is when the female starts laying eggs, generally they avoid male competition, because what would happen is, suppose the male leaves the female after mating, another male could come and copulate or mate with the female, and then what happens is the sperm of the first male is actually lost. So the second female gains its dominance, and so the sperms of the second male would be fertilized by, will fertilize the eggs of this female. So to prevent that, the males generally guard the female till they start laying eggs. So you can see here, this female is trying to lay eggs here, and the male is guarding the female at the time of laying eggs. Of course, eggs are also laid on plants in some instances, where the female would insert its tip of the abdomen on a plant and lay eggs there. They several times, of course, dip their abdomen in water, and the eggs are laid on that. So this is how egg laying happens. Of course, following that, the nymphs actually live in water. They live in water. They also consume a lot of mosquito larvae and several other small insects which live inside the water. So they are aquatic and they have several instars. Of course, there is no pupal stage here, but within the last larval instars, transformation takes place into an adult. So you can see here, this is the cast skin, and the adult is just emerging. So you can see here cast skin, and the adult emerging. So this is the last larval instar actually, which is called as a naiad. So the larva crawls up out of the water onto a rock or a branch, and the adult emerges from the larval skin. You can see here the larval skin in most instances. Here also there is a larval skin, very well represented on stamps. And the adult will emerge out of this last larval skin. Trying to give you some data about stamp issues on Ordinata. The first stamps on a dragonfly or a damselfly were issued by Japan on October 25th, 1923, followed by Switzerland in 1951 and Finland in 1954. I told you in the first initial slides that there are 332 countries or issuing entities that have issued stamps on insects. Out of these 332, 148, that is 45% of the stamp issuing entities have issued stamps on dragonflies and damselflies. There are at least 646 stamps that have come out on dragonflies and damselflies, and about 248 species are represented, and they are being represented from about 17 families from both the groups, whether it's damselflies and dragonflies. Out of the 39 families which are there in ordinatans, 17, that is 43%, again about the same percent as the number of issuing entities. And out of 600 and 350 species, nearly 248 have been put on stamps. If you look at the stamp issuing countries, more than 105 countries have issued more from 1 to 5 stamps, 30 countries from 5 to 10 stamps, and about 13 countries have issued more than 10 stamps on dragonflies and damselflies. If you look at the leading countries which have published put up stamps on dragonflies and damselflies, Malaysia leads the score with about 37 stamps issued by them, followed by China, that is Taiwan, 34 stamps, and Australia, about 25 stamps. And about 38 countries have issued stamps on just one species, which is a very famous European dragonfly, emperor dragonfly, Anax imperator. And which belongs to Aeschynidae. We'll also have a look at classification and what stamps have come out on these ordinatants a little later. Unfortunately, not a single stamp has been issued from India featuring these insects. Of course, there is a saving feature which has happened very, very recently. That is, Kerala issued 6 special covers on insects which are found only in Kerala, endemic to Kerala. And one of them is a dragonfly. This is the common pitcher wing, not a stamp. There is no stamp here. The common pitcher wing, which was put on a special cover, the cancellation of the common pitcher wing. Of course, behind the special cover, there's a lot of information about this common pitcher wing, where it breeds, where it lives, etc., etc. also. So this special cover, which came out from Kerala, the Postal Department, in just very recently, 22nd May, on International Day for Biological Diversity, has been a saving feature as far as Indian philatelic issues have been concerned on dragonflies and damselflies. Again, another saving feature has been again from Karnataka, where a special cancellation from Mangalore Post Office on World Environmental Day, that is the 5th of June, had a damselfly on the special cancellation. This is on World Environment Day, and a lot of insects have been put in addition to a frog, as well as some plants. But then you see bees, butterfly, a ladybird beetle, a damselfly, and a frog have been put up on the World Environment Day, the special cancellation which came up in World Environment Day, that is 5th June, by Mangalore Post Office. So that is all there is to talk about Indian issues on dragonflies and damselflies. Now let's get on to the first issues of stamps on ordinata. I told you Japan, the red dragonfly has been put up on stamps way back in 1923. You can see here, these 2 dragonflies here, the red dragonfly, here again, the dragonfly. Then Switzerland in 1951 came out with this damselfly, and then Finland also has come out with the dragonfly. Malaysia, as I told you, has produced the maximum number of stamps. This is just one sheet of dragonflies and damselflies which have been put on stamp. About 25 stamps, very, very easily recognized to the species level, has been put up by Malaysia. Very beautiful stamps. Pictorial cancellations have also come on ordinatants. You can see here a dragonfly, again a dragonfly, a dragonfly. The head of the dragonfly, which has come out in a cancellation from Poland. You can see here how the front mandibles or the teeth are. Let's go on to classification of ordinata and how we can use stamps to understand some classification of ordinata. I'll talk to you about representative stamps for different families of ordinata that have come out. So there are 3 suborders which are recognized: Anisozygoptera, Zygoptera, Anisoptera, and of course order Proto-ordinata, which is extinct. So Anisozygoptera are actually ancient dragonflies, and they are represented only by one family, Epiophlebeidae. And there is only one species which have been issued by Japan, Epiophlebia. This is in 1986 by Japan. Zygoptera, which are the damselflies, there are at least 74 species that have been put on stamps, which representing 9 families, and they're issued by 72 countries. If you look at Anisoptera, dragonflies, there are stamps on 171 species representing 6 families issued by 87 countries. The extinct Proto-ordinata also have been shown on stamps. There are stamps on fossil species representing just one family, Meganuridae, which are issued by 18 countries. Coming to Anisozygoptera, the ancient dragonflies, they are considered intermediate between dragonflies. Please, excuse me. Hello? Hello? Can I continue? Hello?
Yeah, please continue. I request everyone to keep their microphones on mute, please.
Okay. They are considered intermediate between dragonflies and damselflies because both wings are similar in size and shape and held back over the body at rest. So, it's a combination of characters of damselfly and dragonfly. There is only one survivor family, Epiophlebeidae. In fact, it is also seen here in India, in the northeast, especially in Darjeeling and some other Sikkim and other areas in the Himalayas. One stamp is issued by Japan about this particular dragonfly. Coming on to Zygoptera, the damselflies, beautiful looking insects. as the name implies, damselflies, basically because of their thin body, they are called as damsels, as compared to the thick body and rough shape, which is then a dragonfly. So out of the 28 families in damselflies, 9 families have been put on stamps, and out of the 3,270 species, 74 species have been featured on stamps. You can see here different families and a pie chart showing how these stamps are there. Let's not get into too much of details, but just to give you an idea, the data of this kind also is very, very important to try and understand how stamp issues are happening as far as several of these groups are concerned. As I would tell you here, it is mostly the ones which are more beautiful, more lovely looking, and wonder to look at have been put on stamps. Continuing Zygopterans, this is one family which is called as Coineogrenidae. There are 23 species on stamps. You can see here several representatives of them. These are the largest families of damselflies. More than 1,100 species are there, found almost throughout the world, and they generally are found on habitats including ponds and wetlands. Very, very colorful species, and several of them have been put on stamps. Representative stamps are shown here. Next family is Calopterigidae. There are 10 species which have been put on stamps. These are, of course, very, very large damselflies, very bright and very beautiful looking ones, blue colored, some of them green, etc. Metallic colored, most of them. And they're found generally in rivers and streams. And you can see representative stamps of these, family damselflies on several countries which have come: Czech Republic, Poland, Switzerland, USA, Malaysia, Vietnam. All of them have come out with stamps on this group. Just one species of stamp on several families: family Polythoridae, family Lestridae, and family Platycnematidae. Again, common names have been given to these families: banner wings, spread wings, and feather legs. Just one stamp which have been issued, and that particular stamp is shown here. This particular family, that is Polythoridae, is found in the New World tropics. They are generally found in rivers and saline marshes, but habitat loss is threatening this particular family. Lestridae is again beautiful stamps, beautiful damselflies. One particular species have been put on stamps. It's cosmopolitan. You can find it throughout the world, and some species actually rest with the wings partly open. So that is why you can see that spread wings is the name given to them. It breeds in streams, backwaters, swamps, marshes, and temporary pools, and the body has a greenish metallic shine. Platycnematidae is another beautiful looking family. In the sense, the damselflies are very, very beautiful, and only one species have been put on stamp. This is Platycnem extinguished by Western Sahara. More than 400 species are there, and it is native to Old World tropics. Bhutan has come out with some beautiful issues of these damselflies of this particular family Synlestridae. These are known as sylphs and malachites. There are 2 species on stamps, both of them from Bhutan: Megalistris gailse and Megalistris irma. Actually, Megalistris gailse was named after the Bhutan prince on his first birthday. So a new species of damselfly was named to honor His Royal Highness Gailse, the Crown Prince of Bhutan, on his first birthday. His picture is also there here, and the picture of the damselfly is there with his name, with the name Megalistris gailse, which came from Bhutan. This is called as the gailse emerald spread wing, basically because of its color, green color, emerald green. Megalistris irma also, is featured on a stamp from Bhutan. Coming on to the other group, that is dragonflies, Anisoptera. Out of the 11 families, 6 families, I think 7 families, I think I put it wrong here, have been represented on stamps. And out of the 3,110 species, 171 species have been featured on stamps. Again, talking to you about the various families which have come out on stamps. Actually, Libellulidae, has the maximum number of stamps, again, basically because very, very beautifully colored, very large, and very, very commonly seen. So that is why more of them have been put on stamps. Coming to the family, that is Libellulidae, there are, I told you, about 90 species which are put on stamps, and it is the largest and the most diverse family. There are more than 1,000 species. It is distributed throughout the world, very colorful species, and more than 150 stamps have been issued by different countries. And 90 species out of 90 species, several of them same species have been issued by different countries. So you can see representatives here, very nicely colored. Some of them are bright red, some of them have bright colors of the wings, bright blue, etc. So all colors, green, yellow also are seen in these. Coming to the next, this family continuing this, so you can see here some of them very, very beautifully colored. Variegated flutter, Rhyothemis variegata pictured, flutterer, Rhyothemis phyllis, very, very beautiful dragonflies. Anisoptera continuing again, you can see here red colored, blue colored dragonflies, different ones issued by different countries. Coming on to the next family, Aeschynidae or hawkers, there are 23 species on stamps, and these are again among the largest dragonflies found worldwide, capable of flying forwards or backwards or hovering fast. They are very, very fast flying, and wings are always extended horizontally, and they generally live in fresh water. This particular species, that is the Anax genus, a lot of species have been put on stamps. These are called the hawkers. Say Anax parthenon, the lesser emperor. I told you that this particular species has been put up on stamps by more countries than other stamps, other dragonflies. I'm sorry. Family Confidae or the clubtails. There are 12 species on stamps. These are widely distributed. The end of the abdomen is club-like. They breed in streams, rivers, or other water bodies, or in flowing things. And family Cordulidae, they are also found worldwide. Family Confidae, 12 species have been put on stamps, and here 3 species have been put on stamps. All the 3 species are represented here. Family Cordyligastridae, spiked tails, 7 species on stamps. Again, these are worldwide distributed. Generally brown or black with yellow markings. Again, found in clear streams and generally found clear over water. So most of them you see here, black with yellow stripes. Most of them are having black with yellow stripes. Family Petaluridae, another beautiful dragonfly. It's a very, very ancient group and one of the largest and extant dragonflies. There are fossil members from as early as Jurassic, about 150 million years ago. And these are generally found in Australia, New Zealand, and USA. And actually, the larvae live in burrows in stream banks. They don't live in water, but they live in burrows in streamlands. So this is Petalura pulcherrima, a very, very beautiful dragonfly, which you can see here. It is also called as a beautiful petal tail. That sort of summarizes the different families and species that have been put on stamps. Now coming to sizes of ordinata, the largest ordinatans, that is the largest dragonflies, are the Aeschynidae and the Petaluridae. So you can see here about 160 millimeters wingspan, about 78 millimeters in length, and that is the emperor dragonfly Anax imperator. And also this petal tail, which we talked about very recently, Petalura pulcherrima from Australia. This stamp, 163 millimeters wingspan, about 110 millimeters long. And if you look at the damselfly, the ornate helicopter or the ornate forest giant is the largest damselfly, and this is about 180 millimeters in wingspan and about 210 millimeters in length. So you can see here how long the body is. The abdomen is very, very long, so the length is very, very long. It is longer than even the width, that is the wingspan. The tiniest have also been put on stamps. So you can see here, the smallest dragonfly is Nanophyia pygmea, which was put up by Malaysia on a stamp in 2000. Just 26 millimeters in wingspan, about 15 millimeters in length. And the smallest damselfly is the wisp, the Agriopnemis species, Coinia gyroidae. That is, it has got a wingspan of 17 to 18 millimeters and just weighs less than 5 milligrams. This stamp has been come out by Ghana. If you look at how stamps have been depicted on, the dragonflies or damselflies have been depicted on stamps, you can see here, this is original picture of a damselfly, the large red damselfly, Pyrrhosoma nymphaea. You can see here, they're fairly well represented on stamps. So you can see that, Russia, Ireland, and Great Britain have put this particular species on stamps, and they are fairly very well represented on the stamp. So very beautiful, illustrations or pictures or paintings made by different artists are put on stamps, and they fairly represent the original damselfly or the damselfly. But at the same time, I would also like to tell you that there are errors on stamps which causes problems for entomologists and others when they start using it as tools for teaching entomology or teaching taxonomy. Of course, generally charismatic fauna appear frequently on stamps, which I told you already about. And unfortunately, 30% of the entomological stamps, not the ones on ordinators, of all the insect stamps that have been produced, are not scientifically reliable because there are scientific errors introduced through the stamps, which are rarely collected in philatelic publications. And this can cause misinformation on a global scale. I have here shown you some representatives of dragonflies which have been wrongly identified or errors have been put on the stamps. No name, there is no name on the stamp, wrong ID. The ID of this actually it's put off as a damselfly, whereas this is a dragonfly. And the name of the scientific name was spelling error is there. Several times, of course, insufficient taxonomy, poor depiction. These are things that have come out on stamps. So actually, if the Universal Postal Union insists that they should issuing authority should be talked about how the correct identity and veracity should be verified before a stamp is put up is very, very important, so that the correct picture of the particular species is put on the stamp. Migration. I talked to you about very, very briefly when I talked about their flight capacities. Migration is a very, very strong phenomenon of this particular species, which is called as a globetrotter, Pantala flavescens, and it makes migrations from 14,000 to 18,000 kilometers. That it migrates all the way from India via Maldives, Seychelles to Africa and returns back to India during the monsoon. Actually, it returns back to India using what is known as the Somali jet, which is actually an air current which brings them back to India during the monsoon. And after the monsoon ends, they come to Kerala, and from Kerala they go on to Maldives and then go on to Seychelles and then to Africa. Then they move up and down in Africa and finally come back to India when the monsoon arrives. So this particular cycle of nearly 14,000 to 18,000 kilometers is completed by about 4 to 5 generations. So they breed in between in rainwater pools and other areas in all these places, and then come back to India. So this migration actually lasts for 4 to 5 generations it takes to come back to India. And for the countries which are covered by this migration are India, Maldives, Seychelles, Tanzania, Mozambique, and Uganda. But unfortunately, no stamp has been come from any of these countries. But Pitcairn Islands has put up a stamp, souvenir sheet with the shape of the dragonfly itself and 2 stamps on the Pantala flavescens. Other countries have also put up because this particular species of dragonfly is found in other parts of the world also, not just in India and Africa. It is also found in other parts of the world. That is why it is called as globetrotter. And as I was telling you, Dr. Sandeep Saha, please do tune into that lecture, which is available on YouTube, called as Copy with Curiosity. He talks about how this migration, how this 5 centimeter long dragonfly migrates all the way from India to Africa and returns back to India using wind currents. And, he talks about the physical, both aerodynamics as well as the structure of the wing, etc., as to how this is actually enabled by these various factors. So please do listen to that lecture. It is a beautiful lecture. Coming on to some other issues like the predators of Ordinata. A lot of birds predate on Ordinata. I think I'm running out of time. Another 10 minutes or so I should finish. So there are a lot of predators, birds, a lot of birds. You can see a lot of birds which are actually predating on damselflies and dragonflies, and also frogs, as well as some rodents also predate on dragonflies and damselflies. Also, the praying mantis also feeds on dragonflies and damselflies. The spider, several fish, like the shooting fish, actually shoots a jet of water on a dragonfly or a damselfly which is sitting on a plant, and it feeds on them. So there are other fish also which feed on both the larvae as well as the adults. Dragonflies in art and culture, several paintings have come out with dragonflies and damselflies. Especially the Japanese have used dragonflies and damselflies for their paintings. This is Bellflower and Dragonfly by the Japanese painter Katsushika Hokusai, which was released as a 150th death anniversary of the painter by Lesotho. an African country, used this particular painting to come out with a stamp. Similarly, Dragonfly and Begonia, a painting by another Japanese painter, Utagawa Hiroshige, was put up by Gambia. Continuing on how we've used dragonflies and damselflies in art and culture, I'm sure all of you know that at the end of the rainbow, you can find a pot of gold. This is a common thing which is talked about. So here, a dragonfly is also shown here, pot of gold and rainbow. It's a greeting stamp, actually, and you can see a dragonfly also there. And on top of a post box, this is also from Japan. On top of the post box, you can see a dragonfly. And here, this is actually peace, hands releasing butterflies and dragonflies and dove. So to talk about them, also we are using representatives of various animals, like even dragonflies are used as a 50th anniversary of United Nations as a symbol of peace. Dragonflies have also featured in toys and also in paper kites. You can see here 2 stamps that have come out here. These are actually paper kites which are shaped like a dragonfly. A dragonfly kite which was released by Hong Kong, and this is by Macau, paper kite shaped like a dragonfly. The bamboo dragonfly toy, which is also there here, which is represented on a stamp, and the bamboo dragonfly top. Here actually is a astronaut-like child. Actually, this is released during Children's Day, the year of the child, where this child is trying to chase a dragonfly and a butterfly in space. Continuing, the Japanese, of course, veneer the dragonfly very, very greatly. They believe that it brings good omen. It is a very, very good omen if you see a dragonfly. So you can see a very, very beautiful poem, a Japanese children's song, and this particular children's song, the notes of the song are put on this particular stamp. The red dragonfly, I told you, this is one term is insularis, which is also there on the stamp. So the red dragonfly is actually a highly significant symbol in many cultures, especially in Japan, and some also in Native American Indian cultures, and is considered as a symbol of courage, strength, happiness, eternal love, and rejuvenation. So you see a beautiful poem, Red Dragonflies in the Sunset. When was it that I watched someone in mountain fields, we gathered mulberries in small baskets, or was it just a dream? At 15, my big sister left home to get married. Her letters have long since ceased to come. A red dragonfly in the sunset on the tip of a bamboo pole. It's a children's song, actually. Continuing on this, I told you how Japanese, actually honor the dragonfly. So in Japan, actually, tombo is an important cultural symbol, and they believe that it is a harbinger of rich harvest. If you see a dragonfly, that means you will get rich harvest. It is also believed here in India, if you see a dragonfly, you will get rain. So tombo is actually a national emblem, and Japan itself is referred to as Akutsushima, that is the dragonfly island, because the emperor who saw it from a mountain looked at the island and saw that it was just shaped like a dragonfly. That is why it is called as Akutsushima. So the dragonflies are also very, very popular subjects for haiku poems. And Japan is the first country, as I told you, to issue a stamp in 1923, and the first to create a special dragonfly nature reserve in Nakamura. And actually, the Japanese government officially recognized in B. insularis that the red dragonfly as a national landmark on March 12, 1969. Dragonfly is also worshipped in several countries. Actually, a legend from Kiribati talks about the young hero Naro, who sends a dragonfly to find those in the darkness. Unfortunately, the Westerners don't like dragonflies. They believe that it is the Satan, the little horse of the devil, snake doctor, devil's darning needle, eye poker. These are the names given by several dragonflies by the Europeans and the Americans. And in Western countries, folklore holds that the dragonflies are evil, and Satan is often said to have sent dragonflies to the world to cause mischief. Of course, in USA, there is also a superstition that exists that dragonflies are capable of stitching the mouths of lying children. So if children lie, they generally show a dragonfly and say, that dragonfly will come and stitch your mouth. So, and in fact, one of the dragonflies of the family Aeschynidae are called darners because it is just like a darning needle. You can see here, big abdomen, darning, just like a darning needle. Co-ordinator as ecological indicators. They are indicators of the quality of the ecosystem. Several species or several families are recognized. Of course, some of them are also capable of breeding on, polluted waters. And, these species, if you see them, that means you can be sure that the water is polluted. But here you have very good representatives of good water and a dragonfly, see boat, lotus and other things in this lake with the dragonfly. Here again, very good river, mountain river with the dragonfly there. Again here by the Czech Republic, dragonfly cancellation with the river like this. So you can also see here. So, they are indicators of good, clean water ecosystems. So you need to conserve ordinators as they feed on several insect species, including mosquitoes, and they need to be conserved by establishing protected areas. You can see here, several stamps have come out with that. These are beneficial insects. So you can see here a dragonfly, also part of the beneficial insects. Here again, you see as part of the beneficial insects, this particular dragonfly on the stamp. Here, beautiful flowers and the park with the dragonfly, showing again that the environment has to be conserved. And if you preserve dragonflies and damselflies, you also preserve the environment. So here again, on a walk, scenic walks, you can see a dragonfly pictured on a stamp. Here you can see here, no dragonfly, nothing is here. It's polluted water. Whereas this unpolluted water, you can see a dragonfly here. So, just to tell you how, we need to protect and keep preserving good water bodies so that we can preserve dragonflies and damselflies. I would like to conclude by saying that, dragonflies and damselflies are completely harmless to humans. They don't bite you, they don't sting you, they don't do anything to you. They're very beneficial as predators, and they are very, very important in the aquatic food web because they become predators and they also are predated upon by various groups of other animals. And it is exciting, of course, to observe, study, and photograph damselflies and dragonflies, and they provide invaluable insights about ecosystem health. I told you, if you find them in good water bodies, you will find them. So it gives a good indication of how the ecosystem health is if you look at dragonflies and damselflies. So we need to really conserve them. A note about philately or ordinatophilately, as I would call it, where we are trying to collect insects, dragonflies and damselflies on stamps. The bright colors of dead specimens, if as an entomologist, if you keep them in boxes, several times they fade. And if you're not preserving them carefully, they will fade and they will become dull. But if you collect stamps on Odonata, it is a treat and a charm, and the color is everlasting. So you can really enjoy the colors of the dragonfly and damselfly by collecting stamps. This is just to tell you, I'm not in any way, telling against entomologists who collect insects. I have also collected the insects and preserved them. But then, unless you preserve them carefully, it becomes difficult to keep them for a very, very long period of time. So Ordinatophilately is an interesting, educational, and worthwhile hobby given for professional entomologists like me. I would like to acknowledge, of course, the organizers of this particular webinar and the Karnataka Philatelic Society, Bangalore, which has actually, helped me to work on stamps, and also a lot of friends who are from Karnataka Philatelic Society who have helped me build my collection and also helped me try to understand something about philately, because I started as a zero in philately. I didn't know much about philately. Even now, I may be making a lot of errors in philately, but I tried to use my stamps to give education using the stamps. The American Topical Association for the checklists and handbooks on insects on stamps of the world, beautiful, checklist talking about insects and stamps of the world. And this particular book, Dragonflies and Damselflies, A Natural History, by Dennis Paulson, and this particular paper by Nazari in 2021, an assessment of the entomological postage stamps as effective teaching aids for science educators, and colleagues at the Department of Entomology, UAS Bangalore, MS Ramu, fellow of the Royal Philatelic Society in London, philatelist who has encouraged me a lot during my journey in philately. And of course, a lot of philatelists and dealers who have helped me build my collection. I would like to thank all of you and thank all the organizers for this opportunity given to me. I hope, my webinar gave you some idea about dragonflies and damselflies, and also how collecting stamps on some of these groups could be a very, very interesting hobby. I wish more of you pick up this hobby, not only of studying damselflies and dragonflies, but also collecting maybe stamps on some groups, at least, which are of interest. So actually, if you see here, this quotation, the postage stamp is a flimsy thing, no thicker than a beetle's wing. Maybe you can put it as dragonfly's wing, and yet it will roam the world for you exactly where you tell it to. So please do admire insects on stamps. Do not stamp insects out. Thank you. I would like to end by giving my email ID. Those of you who are interested in contacting me, please contact me through this email ID. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, sir. That quote was perfect and for such a wonderful, informative talk. Sir, it's not just informative, sir. You have a very lovely way of presenting it and making it memorable. So a lot of amazing facts about these really extremely ancient and beautiful insects. And I think this is a fantastic model of how we can use stamps, tiny stamps for those beautiful creatures. I think we have a wonderful way. All those things you mentioned, and I had a discussion with Dr. Priyanka, who's also on this call, about their behavior, and you highlighted them so very well today. Especially the Japanese poem that you told us, it says how their culture views these. Somehow, I think we seems to have ignored these creatures. So
So
thank you.
we are also very favorable towards dragonfly. Most farmers would see a dragonfly and be very, very happy because they know that the dragonfly will bring rain. That is what is believed generally.
Yes, absolutely, sir. We'll take questions in the chat box, but first and foremost, I would like to request Dr. R.M. Sharma, sir, to present his thoughts as well as do the vote of thanks. Sharma, sir.
Well, thank you, Rajgopal. First and foremost, on my own behalf and on behalf of Maharashtra Vruksha Samvardhini, Pune, Institute of Natural History, Education and Research, Pune, RJ College, Mumbai, Barrister Balasaheb, Khardekar College, Vengurla, profusely thank Dr. Srinivasan Ramani for having accepted our invitation to deliver his talk on the occasion of National Dragonfly Day. Sir, we have thoroughly enjoyed your illustrious and informative talk, a philatelic journey into the world of dragonflies and damselflies. Thank you very much, sir. It was really a feast for us from all sides, education as well as the information on stamps, on dragonflies and damselflies on stamps and its importance in ecosystem. So thank you very much, sir. Secondly, I thank today's participants for their overwhelming response to the present talk. Thank you very much. Thank you, one and all. Rajgopal.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So we have had a lot of people commenting on how they have enjoyed the talk today. I would also, before we get on with that, I would also request Dr. Vartak, who himself is an amazing philatelist, a very dedicated one at that, to say his thoughts. Vartak, sir, please.
Sir, it was really a treat. And first thing, I think from just going through your presentation plan only, it clearly shows how much detailed research you have been done on the subject. So first, because many people they don't know about means how much work we have engaged in this research for last 4 decades. First thing you have to collect the stamps on the themes. Secondly, organize them, research them, find out the information, historical information also, and then again prepare a presentation and give that presentation is not that easy part. So from your presentation, really it makes it means people will understand how much detailed study you have done on the subject. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vartak. This has been my passion. So one of the things that comes out with great passion is that actually come out with your best when you have a passion for something.
No, but that is about you take any subject and you are there. Always means you are always ready to give. That is very important, sir.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
work on that
absolutely.
and you give presentation. So we are means actually we are expecting some more presentations also from you in future. Thank
Absolutely,
you,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, Vartak sir had an excellent point. I agree with him wholeheartedly. When you talk, either you talk on bees or damselflies or dragonflies, They are always very interesting and make these subjects come alive, sir. Uh, Sir, just one question regarding this culture. You mentioned Japanese culture. There were also a lot of stamps on this order as well as other insect orders from China. When you showed that list, a lot of them on China. Is there some kind of similar cultural significance, with China? These
China also, believes in several of the things that the Japanese believe in, also the Chinese believe in. But if you look at entomological stamps per se, the African continent actually has come out with more number of stamps on insects than any other part of the world. Even here you can see that a lot of stamps have been, even say for example the Japanese painting that has come out,
Right.
that has been actually put out by a African country. So like this, the African nations also have put up very beautiful stamps on several insects, and they really excel in the art. Maybe they outsource it in terms of the production or whatever it is, but the effort is there to talk about or bring out stamps on various groups of animals in Africa on stamps. So that is a wonderful effort. Almost, I think, what I really believe in is, though I'm not very sure, but about 30% of the stamps on insects have come out from African subcontinent.
And that was really amazing, sir. Even those, especially I was amazed, not just by the variety, they had these on different life stages. They had a
Correct.
stamp on the larva of
Yes.
a dragonfly. That
As I told you, I can take an entire class on this group just using stamps.
yes.
About, if I want to talk about this order, on all aspects about the order, morphology, mating behavior, behavioral aspects, everything, just using stamps I can do it. So that is what makes me feel that stamps can be used as a very, very beautiful educational tool in the classroom.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, sir. Last few years, they have been eye-opening, especially seeing your presentations, how you can really approach. And, there's just the whole variety in the range is, you can learn the whole entire subject using stamps like this.
If I am permitted to say something,
Sir, please go ahead, sir.
Dr. Ramani is a practical entomologist, and we people are actually theoretical entomologists. We have studied books and all, but looking at his knowledge and study on stamps, he can actually teach entomology through stamps. Each and every order of insects, I think.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely, sir.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
In the sense, I have, stamps on almost 22 orders of insects. Not all of them. Almost 22 orders of insects I have stamps, but some of them are poorly represented. Very, very few stamps have come out on various orders. So, some groups, very, very large number of stamps have come out, and two of them are the lepidopterans and the dragonflies. Very, very beautiful stamps have come out on some other groups also. But I'm still researching, still trying to find out various issues. I can't talk about all the groups, but some groups, yes.
But major orders you can very well cover with stamps.
Yes. No, but the thing is, as Dr. Vartak had pointed out, for one group, I need to work for a very, very long time to come out with a presentation.
Yes.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. If Dr. Datta, if she's still there, I would love to know her thoughts on how Ramani sir has used these stamps to talk about her subject. She's still there? Looks like she dropped out just now. Yeah. Sir, I think we had out all these similar comments on the chat boxes about how they have enjoyed it.
Rajgopal sir, there is one thing which is there in the chat box. Just maybe
Yes.
to tell them, you can tell them, is they're asking Akhilesh Patna. Sir, any YouTube video link available for this session, then please share, sir. He's asking. So I think you should also tell them that it is available. Mission Devarai has got it on YouTube. You should tell them that.
Yes, absolutely. And you said it right. We will actually share the link for this specific one in a short time. It is being recorded to a cloud, and give us a few days and we will take that and we'll be uploading it to YouTube as well. And where you can actually, from there, you can share it further on so that others can also enjoy this talk.
Hello,
So,
sir. Hello.
yes, please go ahead.
Sir, very small question. About European countries and even America also, regarding damsel and dragonfly, they are following some superstition issues. That was I heard from you. Those countries actually advanced countries and they know very well about scientific temperament and all. Still, those practices are persisting, or they have changed, or what kind of things could observe?
Superstitions are there everywhere. Just not restricted to less advanced countries. It is also there in more advanced countries. Superstitions cannot be stopped. Superstitions are there everywhere.
Sir, excellent session today. Really, I'm very much touched with your all presentation, and I learned a lot. Basically, you have built up a great, interest in the stamps and these dragonflies. We are seeing every day, and we are not knowing much. But today, I can't say everything I learned, but I tried myself to be in touch with you because you have shown all the pictures and direct, we are correlating the things with that. And I am an environmentalist. I'm working with the water pollution and all. You have shown one stamp that is, water is very, polluted in absence of the dragonflies. I think this is very, very great thing, I have seen in the stamp today. Thank you.
A lot of work is going on these lines. Only thing is, putting some of them are put on stamps is a great thing. But otherwise, people who are working on dragonflies and damselflies can give you more information about what dragonflies and damselflies you see in when the water is unpolluted and what you will see when they are polluted. You will have a lot of information on them. I didn't get into these details basically because it gets too much because of the fact. But I did tell you very briefly about it. But then if you go to a dragonfly researcher, I'm not a dragonfly researcher myself, though I'm an entomologist. I have not done research on dragonflies, so I don't know much about them. But there are others who are working on these groups. Several of them are in the Northeast, as also in Bangalore, as well as in Pune. There are a lot of them working on dragonflies and damselflies. You can get in touch with them. They will tell you what species, if you see, in clean water or in clean environments, and what species you see the water is polluted.
Sir, I'm going to send you the email, sir. Please accept that, and if possible, then leave the presentation to my USA club. I am from USA club, so
Okay.
I will invite you.
I think you ask the organizers for that. That is better.
I will, sir. I will. Thank you, Mission Derai, sir, and everyone, Rajgopal, sir, for organizing such a wonderful session, inspiring all of us to go in study deeper and deeper, whatever we are doing.
Sir, I think if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
If I'm not wrong, I think the one species is named as contaminator.
Contaminator. That is yes.
That breeds in, I think, polluted water.
Correct, sir. Correct.
So that is an indirect indication of actually
polluted environment. Yes.
If contaminator is breeding, it means the water is polluted.
Yes, sir. What you're saying is true. Correct.
Yes.
That is amazing, sir, how nature evolved to take advantage of some things, no?
Correct. True.
And actually, kudos to the scientist who has named it actually perfectly.
Yeah. Truly. Sir, this has been a very enlightening session. Vartak, sir, do you want to, is there anything I have missed or?
If no question, then I think we can stop.
Yeah, sir, you can stop recording as well.
Yeah.
Thank you again. Thank you, sir,
Yes,
Ramani, sir, very much.
And Ramani, sir, I think shortly he'll be coming out with his book. on dragonflies.
Oh,
So we are actually, sir, we are waiting for your book.
Sure,
Ah,
Vartakji.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
sir,
you.
someone is asking the link of the YouTube channel, sir.
Now, all these lectures are available on Mission Devrai YouTube channel.
Yes.
You can go through
Yes,
Mission
yeah, you
Devrai
can.
YouTube channel. All
Yeah.
these lectures are available on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll be closing this. You can just search for Mission Devrai on YouTube,